I went in for a routine physical. And walked out with a story I'll never live down. You won't believe what happened. So here I am straight out of high school. It was a couple years since my last physical and I was due. So, I scheduled a doctor's appointment for a regular physical. You have no idea how this is going to end. I get to my appointment and I'm ready for whatever. Open my mouth and say take big, deep breaths in and out, and yes, drop my pants, turn and cough. Then he says, we should take a urine sample, and I'm like, easy peasy. So, I get a cup from the nurse, head to the bathroom and splash all over to get a sample. You think it's easy, but it's not like a faucet. Once you start, you can't stop. I cleaned up, walked out and gave the cup of my pee to the nurse and head home full of pride, thinking I surely passed with flying colors. Nope. The nurse calls later that afternoon and I'm thinking, I only slept with a couple girls, what could it be? She begins to tell me that my test came back abnormal and that I should see a specialist. What specialist? I ask. She says, we found an abnormal amount of white blood cells in your urine, and we'd like you to see a urologist. Great, here we go. I schedule a urologist appointment a week later and I'm thinking the worst. Could it be an STD, or worse yet, some type of disease? Maybe I have a defective ding-dong? I have no clue. I nervously walk in, sit down and wait my turn, gripping the chair with both hands like I'm about to take off on a rocket ship. There are other guys in the waiting room all waiting their turns, but it's obvious that I'm the youngest of this space shuttle crew. Finally, my name gets called and I sit down in the exam room. About 20 minutes later, the doctor comes in and explains what the nurse told me over the phone. Here I'm thinking, it'll just be another urine sample, right? He then says, I'd like to start with a bladder scope. Great, they're going to cut me open and look at my bladder. This obviously won't happen today, and this will need to be scheduled out. Nope. He says, no, we won't cut you open. We'll take a thin tube with a light and camera at the end and insert it into your urethra. I am visibly shaking at this point. What's my urethra? Is that a medical term for belly button? I ask. No, it's where you urinate from, he says. I immediately turn white and start sweating. I begin to tell him I don't think this is necessary. I've only slept with 2 girls and there must be some type of mistake. Can we schedule this for another time? No, we have it scheduled for today and trust me, it won't hurt or take long, he says. I get taken back into another room where they lay me down to prepare me for the procedure. I'm literally shaking at this point, thinking I just want to go home and crawl under the covers. Then about 4 other nurses walk into the room. Apparently, they are students who are observing the procedure for educational purposes. WTF, I'm thinking. This older female nurse, probably in her 60s, then comes up to me and says, I need to prepare the area for the procedure. She then proceeds to clean my junk with this orange-reddish liquid called iodopovidone. Oh no. It's been some time since my last encounter with my ex, but this is not good. She's cleaning the area like it's her last supper and here I am getting a rock-hard bonsai tree. I grasp the table and before I can start to think of my grandmother, the inevitable happens. I had no control. It was so fast. I had no time to think. It, and I mean it, comes out. The nurse takes a step back and immediately places a towel over and says, it's not the first time. The procedure was quick, and I got dressed and walked out of the office with my tail between my legs. I get home and shower like I've just been violated. Thankfully, everything was just fine, except for my pride. I haven't had a physical since.